Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. Once again, I am Adam, joined with my good friend, Michael Sharp, for our very spooky Halloween episode. Oh gosh!
Did you bring your mask?
I didn't bring my mask.
I thought we agreed we were gonna.
I want you to keep that on for the whole episode.
You want me to?
No.
Okay. I thought we were doing masks today.
I wear a mask every day.
Get me get put together. All right. Well. No mask. Next time you got to warn me when we do Halloween specials, we're not wearing masks. So,
well, I figured since this show is coming out a few days before Halloween, we would have a little fun in the spirit of things. And check this out. Watch this. Ready? Halloween episode. Nice, huh? Little graphics there. I got something special for you too.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Give me 1 second here. Ready? Look at this. Happy Halloween from Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure.
And those of you who cannot see it, he's made some beautiful graphics here. Pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns and Happy Halloween from our little podcast.
Yes, of course. All right, I'll bring you back here. So, well, welcome, my friend. How you been?
I've been good. Getting ready for Halloween, as you've seen. Got my Chewbacca mask, which I'm not wearing, but you know. Yeah.
Oh. I figured.
Do I need a pair of scissors in my hand?
No.
Okay.
I figured I went all in with some sound effects, and the listeners are always put through each.
They're put through something, all right.
Yeah, for my sound effects, but.
We've put together a special Halloween episode. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I got here. We got a scary piano. That's me playing the piano. So
one other thing, before we go, one other thing I think you'd appreciate is I was actually at the liquor store the other day.
Okay,
and I found a special bottle of bourbon here that I'm going to be celebrating my Halloween with. And it is called
Moonlight
Mayhem, a saga of werewolves and bourbon. And it's from Filmland Spirits. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
I thought, in honor of the Halloween spirit, I thought that would be very appropriate. Now, I don't know if it's any good, but
that's okay. I appreciate you. That's a good prop.
We're gonna try it for the Halloween season here. So
I love it. Well, all right. So we've got a couple of Halloween themed items for the show. But I think to start off, we have fan talk.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah, we've been getting a lot of fan mail and all sorts of stuff. So what do you got there for us? Let's.
Well, I've got a few things, and I'm pretty excited. So, first of all, we have a reoccurring item for the show called Listener Spotlight. We have a guest, so I'm not going to do that yet. So I'm going to kind of move around just a little bit. But our friend Matt Robinson wrote us, and he has a suggestion for the show. Every time we end the show, we have what is in the business called dynamic content. If you listen to the show all the way to the end, first of all, thank you. And then you get a little thing where you come on currently and say, "Hey Adam, what's the favorite thing you like about the show?" And I say when people write us, and that's called dynamic content. That just replays every time. But it's sincere. We love when people write us and take their time. And so we did have gotten multiple people to write us. And then in that we say, hey, if there's something you want to hear or any kind of suggestions, and there has been a suggestion. And I'm happy to say that our friend Matt Robinson wrote us. And when he did, I gotta get all my stuff ready here. But he said that what he would love to see is a regular segment called Encounters with Cars. So I was trying to think of what he meant, and I didn't know if it was like negative, of course, because cyclists don't like cars, cars don't like cyclists. But then he provided a really cool story, and
oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought if you would be willing, let me read the story.
So is this going to be Halloween, real gory? Laying there, leg half ripped off, got hit by a car?
Well, I would say in that case,
oh, okay,
you'd be disappointed because it's actually a pretty cool story. So,
all right, well, give us a story. I look
all right, here we go. This is from Matt Robinson, and it's our very first encounter. Oh, sorry. Hold on, Matt. I kept my word. Encounters with Cars.
Nice.
It was a warm, sunny day, and I was on my first bikepacking trip in southern Minnesota. Part of the paved path was blocked by trees, and I had to take a road for about 5 miles that would be busy. And with a shoulder about the width of a sandwich, no big deal, I thought, I've got this. I'm aerodynamic, with panniers, and a trunk bag, even a chair. Well, not exactly aerodynamic, but confidence is key, right? Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. As I pedaled along, cars whizzed by me like I was a stationary exhibit in a vehicular museum. I hugged the white line with precision of a tightrope walker, praying that the wind gusts from passing trucks wouldn't send me into the weeds. With every approaching vehicle, I clenched my handlebars like they were the last 2 straws in a smoothie. Just when I thought things couldn't get more intense, I heard a horn. Exactly. No, not the angry kind. Yes, that one, like a friendly little toot toot. I glanced back, and to my surprise, there was an older gentleman in a pickup truck creeping along behind me with his hazard lights flashing. He gave me a smile and a thumbs up through his window. "You keep going, kid. I've got your back," he yelled over the noise of traffic. My immediate thought was, did he just call me a kid? I'm 52. But then there was no time for that. This man was clearly on a mission to protect me from what seemed like the entirety of the country rush hour traffic. At first, I felt a little ridiculous. A whole truck, hazard lights, flashing like there was some kind of slow-moving parade. Cars behind him began to stack up, but no one dared to honk. How could they? With this gallant protector riding behind me like my personal traffic buffer. With him keeping the traffic at bay, I found myself relaxing a little, almost enjoying the ride. I even considered waving to the onlookers, but I figured that might be pushing it. After a few minutes, I saw my turn back onto the trail up ahead. I waved greatly to my guardian angel as I veered off the road. He gave me one last thumbs up, then drove off like some kind of elderly superhero in a pickup truck. That day, I learned 2 things. First, sometimes a busy road isn't the enemy if you got the right people behind you. And second, never underestimate the power of flashers and a good Samaritan. And that, sir, was our very first episode of Encounters with Cars.
Number 1, that is an incredible story.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. I think it's fantastic. Number 2, it shows that, you know what? Not everybody out there driving past you is, a jackwagon.
True.
And I think he needs to get into book writing because he's He's very descriptive and has a good flow and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if he needs an editor, I'll be happy to help him out.
Me too. I've got AI, ChatGPT, and no, I'm just kidding. No, I actually really appreciate him writing it. He did say some funny things. I'll tell you after the listener spotlight guest. So he's got the guess. But you had a question for him about Soda Springs, our last listener spotlight.
Yeah, he guessed Soda Springs, and it was not Soda Springs. But I would be interested if he could key us in on why he thought it was Soda Springs. I love it that people are like sending in guesses. If you send in guesses, give us a little idea of why you guessed that, as opposed to
why did you choose Soda Springs? We're just curious. So
yes, unlike Adam, who just always guesses St. Louis. Why? Because it's St. Louis. If you could give us a little flavor for why you chose that would be great. Because I would be interested in knowing. That's all.
Well, I thought that was a good start to a segment, and I think we could have. I think you're going to get both sides of the story. I mean, obviously, Matt's story is a positive one, where a good Samaritan was helping him out, and I always joke when I'm writing in a very populous cyclist area, friends of cyclists go way around you, and we'll just say not friends of cyclists go really close to you. So
yes. So no, if you've got a story of an encounter with a car, be it good or bad or otherwise, and you'd like to share it, send it in and maybe we will present it on our episode.
Perfect. All right.
Things are getting spooky now.
Yeah, I figured I would pipe in some scary creepiness. So we have another piece of fan talk.
Okay.
And we heard from a gentleman by the name of Alex Bell. Now, two things with Alex Bell. First of all, Alex, on behalf of Michael and I, we'd like to thank you for being a monthly donation device where you decided to give us a monthly donation. So
thank you,
Alex. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Alex wrote us and said, discovered your podcast right after the 2023 Big Brag and really enjoyed it. He says, hope to join you guys for the 2025 ride. Buddy, we're going. So,
yeah, absolutely.
He says, thanks, Alex Bell from Perry, Georgia. We've been to Perry. And Alex, please join Cycling Men of Leisure. When you sign up for Bragg, you can actually choose us. It's already up there. And you can join our team. And we'd love to have you and have you part of our group. So thank you so much for your monthly donation.
Two things.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we can do like we did last year and kind of get the ride director on here to give us an overview of the ride this year. So we're going to work on that. And second, we've been to Perry, and didn't we stay at the wasn't that the state fairgrounds?
It was. That's when it was raining. We were coming in.
Yes,
remember?
And that's where you got everybody in that restaurant to wish my wife a happy anniversary.
Yes, it's also where I wore my DeBrim when it was raining and I didn't get wet, and you did. But yes, that was your anniversary.
Come on.
I think that was like a soda shop, like a malt shop.
It was like a malt shop, hamburger joint type place. Anyway.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Adam Wiley. We met Adam and Kelly at the Bourbon Country Burn. They came and they hang out with us, and we got to hear their story, and we became friends by the time the weekend was over.
Oh,
seems to happen to you and I.
Is this the folks that were getting married?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah.
And they were celebrating their 1-year anniversary. And I've messaged Kelly a few times here and there, and she sent me a photograph of the now married Adam. They were out for their 1-year anniversary wearing a Cycling Men of Leisure t-shirt with a sports coat. Buddy, Adam, you are my hero. I love it. So,
wow, yes.
So, first of all, we'd like to say, of course, on your 1-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
But all right. But thanks for sporting. I love it. I thought it was really cool. So thank you so much.
Very cool.
Let's see here. Ooh, our friend Mandy, teammate and friend Mandy,
okay,
from Kentucky, happened to be in Indiana for a golf outing.
I'm sorry. About being in Indiana.
Yeah, because they really took your team for a whooping, 56-7, buddy.
Can we?
Man,
we got to stay focused, Adam. Stay focused.
Yeah,
we're not talking football.
I know, but
jackwagon.
She says to me that they were in the middle of nowhere, and she looked up and saw a guy with a DeBrim, and she yelled DeBrim, and he gave her a big thumbs up, and she thought of me. So definitely wanted to send that. And
she thought of you. When you think of big, goofy-looking hats, think of Adam.
Oh my God! Let's get him out of here. But I have an update for all of our subscribers and listeners. So, not being afraid, I wrote the DeBrim company, and Michael knows this. I shared it with him already, but I wrote the DeBrim company saying, "Hey, listen, when I talk about DeBrim, we make it a running joke where I'm a believer in the product, and of course, my co-host is not. But I was curious if there'd be a sponsorship interest." And I thought their answer was very polite, very kind.
It was, absolutely.
They wrote back and said, "Hey, listen, we're just not a big enough company to do a sponsor. But that being said, if you please give us your T-shirt size, we will send you some swag." So I am going to begin to talk about DeBrim even more. And I'm hoping on the next episode, instead of a Cycling Men of Leisure outfit, I'm hoping I'll have a big DeBrim T-shirt. And
ladies and gentlemen, our next episode will not be on YouTube.
Oh, yes, it will. So, yes,
it just doesn't die, does it?
No, it's never going to die. So, we are thankful for the DeBrim Corporation I'm not sure if it's a corporation. She said it was a smaller company.
Company, but apparently she didn't realize we're a smaller,
That's true.
Company
That's
too.
true.
But,
I don't know if she understood when I meant I actually sent her the donation page, because if anyone's interested, you can actually go as little as $3 a month, $5 a month. I mean, that's all it takes to be a sponsor. So I'm not sure if she was like, "Well, we can't afford that." And I was thinking to myself, they're charging $50 for one of those DeBrims now. Are you telling me that you wouldn't want your product mentioned on every show for $3 a show? But I was like, whatever. So, but I'll appreciate the swag, and I have taken your advice, and I invited her for an interview. So
cool.
Can't promise, but we'll see what happens there. So,
I got one thing to point out.
Yes, sir.
DeBrim is the reason for this. I have to drink on this show because of DeBrim.
Oh my gosh, where's that censor button? There we go. All right, let's see here. Oh, I got a couple more here. By the way, I love when people write us. I know you do too. So thank you all. My friend Jim, vendor first, then friend, now vendor and friend. He says, "I'm going to listen to your podcast. I got a road trip coming up." And he listened to our last episode, and I felt that this was an honest critique. So I was just going to read it. Just one sentence here.
Okay, sure.
He says, "I listened to the podcast from the CEO from Cruise Break. Good interview," he says, "letting her give full answers and not interrupting. Well done, and we'll listen to others." So, Jim, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
That means the world to us. So, appreciate you listening. If you haven't had a chance to listen to our last episode, I thought Maria Parker from Cruise Bike CEO was fantastic.
Incredible interview.
I have a confession. I listened to the interview myself just to enjoy it myself. It's kind of weird to listen to myself sometimes, but at the same time, she's so positive and everything she's got going on. So I really, while yes, I was there, we recorded it, but to listen to it later was absolutely enjoyable. So
great story. If you haven't checked that out. So, very awesome.
And our last piece before.
Oh, and by the way,
yes,
why wouldn't we let her talk? Why wouldn't we let? I mean, I know a lot of people like jump in and they start to give an answer and jump out, but I mean,
maybe
people get tired of hearing us. I'm sure they're probably like, "Oh, thank God."
Maybe because when I see Jim, we're always at transportation conferences, and it's kind of like a free for all. Maybe because we're on the golf course, I maybe interrupt or whatever. So maybe he just meant, or maybe he listens to other podcasts that people interrupt. But yeah, we definitely wanted to give her due diligence, and I thought her answers were so inspiring.
Yeah, she was interesting. So. Cool. Thank you for the compliment. We appreciate it.
I think it's a nice compliment. True a true critique. So, and the last one, I wanted to give you a chance to answer. This one's a little bit Johnny come lately on our part. We've just been doing some other things, but Trent Mayberry reached out, and you had some conversations with him, and I think
yes.
you've got an answer for him. So he reached out about the Cy Plus pump. He wanted the brand of the goat jersey for Ragbri, and in the message you wrote him, you weren't 100% sure, but you have an update on that.
Yeah, he had wrote us, said that he listens to it a lot of times when he's traveling, didn't have a chance to write down the information and was interested in it. I did get back with him, a partial answer. The bike pump that we used this year was a rechargeable. It was the Cyclo Plus A2, and that's the one that we used and we've been talking about a couple of different times this came up. And we'd also talked about the jersey, that the goat jersey from the 50th anniversary of Ragbri, which would have been last year, had a different fit. And I think we somehow hinted that it was a different brand. It actually is a Primal brand. The difference is it's a different cut than what the jerseys normally are, and it's a slightly different material.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
I
The
don't know if
material
it's
was
like
very sweat wicking, almost very, very, very cottony feel, very smooth cottony. And honestly, for me, I thought it was just a tad long in the back, just for me. Once I
It was slightly longer.
put all my nutritions, and at the time I was doing my air pump and CO2 cartridges a little bit different before you had the Cy Plus pump. I put all that in my back three jersey pockets, and because of that material. So now that I've got my system set up on the stem, and you bring the pump, I'd be okay. But I like that jersey. It's fun. Yeah. It's a fun jersey.
So it was that. It just was not like their regular racing cut that you normally get on those types of rides.
As far as fan talk, that is the last piece, except for the guest for listener spotlight. But in normal fashion, I wanted you to give the clues again. And remember, if you remember correctly, I thought I had the right answer. Yeah, I did guess St. Louis away from the show. The show, I did not say it, but based upon some of the things you said, I felt as though St. Louis could honestly be the answer, and I just keep expecting you to try to trick me. And so I still feel like it's St. Louis. But
okay,
if you would like to read the guesses,
I'll read it, and then you can give what the guest our
Matt Robinson
listener, guest, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds okay.
Great. Here's what I gave you for the last one. The area was controlled by the French, but was ceded to the British Empire. It was founded in the early 1800s at the confluences of two rivers. It's named for a European explorer. Nice. I like that. The town helped establish the organized labor movement, and it has a very notable connection to the Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
So what's Matt's guess?
Matt's guess is greetings, gentlemen. Super easy again this week, he says.
Oh, I love the confidence.
He says, it's Pittsburgh, clearly named for William Pitt, Brad Pitt's seventh great uncle. The rivers are the Allegheny and the Monongahela, Monoghahela. John Heisman grew up in the area. The Treaty of Paris set area free from France, and there have been lots of steel-type union labor strikes in progress over the years. In the improbable chance that my guess is wrong, once again, I'm going to blame the 1792 small batch bourbon upon I sip this afternoon.
I agree. That's nice. Blame it on bourbon.
He is guessing Pittsburgh. And I am guessing St. Louis, Missouri. On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
Now, those are both very good guesses, because both of them are at the confluence of two rivers. I'm a little confused on the European explorer because St. Louis was named after a king, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And Pittsburgh was named after, yes, Mr. Pitt.
Yes.
Brad's great-great-great-grandfather or whatever. But if I remember right, he was just a politician. I don't think he was an explorer. Could be wrong there, but so it's interesting. You want me to tell you what it is?
It's St. Louis. Go ahead.
Well, Matt, keep on sipping that whiskey because you are incorrect, but that's okay. Appreciate the answer.
Keep going.
Adam, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Adam is incorrect. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, man. No, I'm not.
But you know what? Both of the people answering this, you guys were both. When I brought this up, you immediately says, I know this one. And Matt was very confident too. So I really appreciate the level of confidence you guys are bringing to the game.
Where is that censor button? Okay.
I was giving you kudos.
I know. I really felt, based upon the French and the two rivers, that I...
Now, I will say that both of these towns, that your guesses do fit they were ceded to the British Empire from the French, things of that nature. So a lot of that does match. But the city for today's listener spotlight is, in fact, Columbus, Ohio. He's like,
I live in Michigan, right?
I know you live in, I can't leave out. And here's how I got that. The Treaty of Paris, 1783, ceded that area as well as others from the French to the British Empire. It was founded in the 1800s at the confluence of two rivers. It's actually founded in February 14th of 1812. Here's the one I thought was going to be pretty easy. Name for a European explorer, Christopher Columbus. Why Columbus, Ohio is named for Christopher Columbus? No one really knows because Christopher Columbus has no affiliation with the state or the city or anything else.
Is there a Leif Erikson, Ohio?
I don't know, but he would have more association with Ohio than Christopher Columbus would, quite honestly. Those Vikings were everywhere. The town helped establish organized labor union. It is actually the town where several labor unions were founded, and among those include the American Federation of Labor and the United Mine Workers of America's unions were both founded in that town. And its notable collection to the Heisman Trophy, Archie Griffin. Good old Archie. You remember Archie?
Oh, man. Archie. We go way back.
Eastmore High School there in Columbus. Yeah. The reason why that's important is actually Archie Griffin is the only person to have ever won the Heisman Trophy twice.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, thank you, our listeners from Columbus, Ohio. Keep listening. We appreciate it. Matt, thank you very much. It was a great guess, but not on point this time. And Adam, one of these days, I'm pulling out St. Louis, so don't give up on it.
I'm not giving up.
You know, the time that I pull out St. Louis, you're going to be like, every time for the last 600 times I've guessed St. Louis, I'm guessing, Rochester, New York.
Well, listen, thank you, listeners from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, all listeners. But this episode, thank you, Columbus, Ohio. There,
Absolutely.
See, I was a man. I held my head up high because the show means the world to us. So, I actually have family lives in Columbus, Ohio. Maybe that's
why when you said, I know this one, I was like, I didn't argue with you because I was like, I bet he does know this one because I knew you had family that lived there. And it's like, okay, I gave him some nugget there that he was able to draw, but okay, it's okay. Your family, I'm sure, is not listening. We're okay.
Actually, I was recently in Ohio for a wedding, and I physically watched a bunch of my family follow our show, so maybe they are listening.
Uh-oh.
And if they are, That's why I say
If
thank you.
if they are, thank you for listening, and I apologize for Adam. Sorry.
They are fully aware of the sports rivalry and the multiple comments. And matter of fact, even my contact, they even say it's Adam from Michigan. So I'm not afraid to let them know. It's a very fun family rivalry. So
Good.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully, as usual, you will have another listener spotlight.
I do indeed.
Perfect.
It's a good one.
Let's get into our spooky Halloween episode here. So, you have got a few things for us. You've got some
yes.
paranormal activity. You have some cycling fears.
Yes.
And you're going to tell us a little bit about a ghost bike.
Yes. Where do you want to start?
Well, why don't we start with... let's save the paranormal activity for the end.
Yes, I think that'd be appropriate.
Why don't we go with, since I know what a ghost bike is, why don't we go something sad into the cycling fears and then end it on a spooky note?
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about ghost bikes. When we were coming up with ideas for the show, we wanted things like Halloween and stuff like that. And that got to me thinking about ghost bikes. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't know anything about them. Even people in the cycling community, it's interesting. A lot of them don't know anything about ghost bikes. And I know you and I have mentioned it on one or two occasions when we've been out there cycling. But I thought it might be interesting to talk a little bit about ghost bike, what it is, and its purpose. And really, a ghost bike, you'll see them occasionally, like in cities. They'll be next to lampposts and things like that. And what they are is they'll be just like a basic bike. Generally, they're stripped down and they're painted all white, and they're known as ghost bikes. And what these are is really a memorial to someone who has, been, killed in some type of biking accident, whether they were hit by a car or they fell or what have you. And it's just a way for the cycling community to kind of, number one, remember that cyclist. But even more important, it makes a really stark comment to the non-cyclist, seeing these stark all-white bikes out there. And hopefully it reminds people that, you know what, there's cyclists out here. And as a car driver, a truck driver, or whatever, part of my responsibility is not only keeping me safe, but also not doing things that are going to endanger pedestrians or cyclists and things like that. So I thought it was worth bringing up. And I did have a couple of facts here that I did want to bring up. And these are facts from 2013. So we're looking about 11 years ago, but roughly 48,000 cyclists were injured in 2013 on the road.
Wow.
More than 740 were killed in crashes with motor vehicles. So we all know as cyclists we're out there, and at times we're kind of flirting with death and that type of thing. But I just wanted people to, if they see one there, to know exactly what it is and to really understand that it's not there just as a memorial, but hopefully it's out there to remind people that cyclists are out there. And, if you run into people who maybe bring up, it's like, well, I saw this white bicycle, and a lot of towns don't like it because it's like, well, this bicycle's just, chained to this post or whatever. If you get the opportunity to bring that up in conversation and say, well, there's a reason for that. It's not somebody just, being a jerk or whatever, that there's actually a purpose and so that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about ghost bikes.
I appreciate that. I mean, you and I have been part of multiple rides that had Ride of Silence. I mean, like a mile of silence, and sometimes there's ghost bikes there. We've been through towns, either in Iowa or Illinois or wherever we've been, and we've just seen a random all white. I mean, they spray paint the entire pedals, seats, posts. It's
tires, everything is white,
and kind of just makes you have that just a second where you sit back and you think about that for a second. So, so I really appreciate that. Way to bring the show down. I'm just kidding. And I bet you a lot of people have seen that and probably have driven by and not realized why a bike was painted all white. So,
yeah, I think I know I've talked to a couple people over the last few years who have seen them, and I think the perception is a lot like the perception that I got from this person I was talking to, is they thought it was some type of artist was trying to make some kind of statement. Gotcha. And it's like, no, it's got nothing to do with that. It's to make a memorial and a visual reminder about, cycling safety. And, it really is town's responsibility to make not just sidewalks, not just roads, but safe for pedestrians and motorists, but also for cyclists. So.
Hey, Adam, I need a Coke.
Sounds good. We'll be back after a quick break.
There we have it.
I'm glad. I appreciate you telling us about that. Cycling.
Let's get into something a little less,
Yeah.
Let's bring it up a little bit.
Yeah. Cycling fears. Now, when you brought this up, and we were doing some show prep, this sounded like a fun activity. And so, tell us what you had in mind for cycling fears.
Well, what I did is I created a list of my top 10 cycling fears. And I think a lot of people can relate to a lot of these. So kind of in the theme of, if you remember the old Dave Letterman show, the top 10 things, I thought I'd do kind of a top 10 cycling fears for this Halloween season. And I'm hoping that people will be able to think about and resonate with a few of these. Are you ready?
Number 10.
There we go. Someone from work recognizes you dressed in spandex.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be. Yeah, trust me. When you and I went to Big Brag 2022, when you and I absolutely loved the jersey, a picture was floating around when I got back to work, and everyone's like, "You wore that?" Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. At that point, you've just got to wear it with pride, loud and proud.
Number 9.
Your Strava account gets hacked, and all of your records are erased.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would not like that. I'm a big deal, but I'm a premium pay. I pay for the full service membership. I like to see all that data and stuff, but yeah, that would not be good.
No.
Number 8.
An open drain appears just ahead as a car is passing you.
Oh.
You got nowhere to go.
No.
Which is kind of reminiscent of your tire blows out. There's a car next to you and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, that seems very reminiscent to me. But
yeah.
Number 7.
The next economic crisis brings back past COVID times when waiting for when there was a waiting period for spare parts lasting 6 months or more, when you needed chains, shifters, pedals, and had to wait 6 months because everybody was cycling.
It's amazing. Like, you couldn't get SRAM parts, you couldn't get Shimano parts, you couldn't get anything. People were borrowing stuff off of old secondary bikes and stuff. So
I was about ready to start stripping down the old Le Mans here and start selling off parts on it.
You and I both got a bunch of bikes in the garage.
I know. It's like,
we didn't really know how much gold we had hanging in the rafters.
We blew it.
Number 6.
You lock your bike to a pole, but in your haste, it is only the pole. You return to find your lock still secured to the pole. Where your bike is, you have no idea.
Oh, nice.
So have you ever done something like that where you're like doing something to lock something up and then you like realize it's like, wow, I didn't really even do that right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have actually.
I ran into somebody who was all about locking up their bike. That's fine. You know me, I'm like, steal my bike. Fine. Whatever. Give me an excuse to buy a new one. They locked it up, and literally they put it around the thing, and there was like people shouting at them, and they just locked it, and they forgot to lock it through the frame or the tire or the frame and the tire, and it was just on the pole. So the pole, good news, was not going to go anywhere. I mean, their bike didn't get stolen, but can you just imagine? Oh, I got my bike locked up, and go there, and there's your lock. It's still chained up, locked solid, but your bike's gone.
Remember when we took all the pack outs to Ragbri and we had our charter, and then I kept all the rechargeables and then some of our money. And if you remember, I locked what I thought was locked the whole thing. We went to town all night long, and everyone's on us there anyway. But I just was concerned because I had my other work cell phone on there and everything. And we got back, and I pointed out to you, I'm like, "What's a good thing I had that locked?" What I had done is I closed the lock, but I actually had never closed the top piece, so it was just a lock on the bottom part of the ring. It was
locked though.
But you know what? It's the perception, and
that's
people
right.
thought it was locked. So number 5.
Number 5, the mud stuck in the bottom of your cleat isn't mud.
Oh, yeah, that would not be good. I would agree.
Don't reach down to clean that out when you're trying to click in, and it's like, oh,
you've been in Iowa too much.
Oh, yeah, way too much.
Number 4,
you lay out your ride kit the night before, and it includes a DeBrim. This is a nightmare scenario.
What? Oh my gosh.
This is a cycling fear I have.
Number 3. Next.
I'm laying out the full kit, and there's a DeBrim hooked to it and with it. It's like, oh, that would be awful.
Oh gosh.
Oh, here's a good one. What number are we? Number 3?
Number 3.
You attend a ride out of town and realize the morning of your ride, you forgot your cycling shoes. That never happens.
Well, I wonder. I mean, I may not be the brightest bulb in the tree, but has that ever happened to us? You know what?
Yeah, give me really, really stupid things that Michael's done for 100, please.
Hey, listen, we're going to move on.
Let's do
Number 2.
All right. You start up a long, steep hill. We've been there. Mm-hmm. Just as you do, an old pickup truck pulls right up in behind the cyclist in front of you. And the truck lacks a new exhaust. So you're sucking down the exhaust of the old pickup truck all the way up the hill.
That's happened to us.
It has happened to us. It's horrible. You're like cycling, and it's a big hill anyway, and there's cyclists right in front of you, and it's like, okay, no problem. And then this old truck pulls up. It's got a 35-year-old exhaust system that's never been fixed, and it's just pouring out, toxic stuff, and you're sitting there huffing and puffing, and all you're huffing and puffing is exhaust.
And the guy is laughing in the cab of the truck.
Yeah. I'd even feel better, I think, about it if I realized the guy knew that he was doing that. And he was like, ha, 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 look what I'm doing. The problem with it is this like some good old boy that probably had no clue that he was trying to, kill me back there with epoxy or whatever it might be. So
there just might be a special place in hell for people like that.
Agreed.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, number 1.
The number 1 cycling fear. You're on a week-long ride. You take your bags to the baggage truck, and 15 minutes later realize you forgot to pull out a key piece of gear.
That's also happened to you.
It's never happened to you?
Of course it has.
I hate that. You're packing up all your stuff and you're getting ready to ride and you put it all in there and you get it up on the truck and, there's 50 people behind you also loading up the stuff. You get back to your bike and then you start going through everything and it's like, oh, my bike computer. And then you're reaching in the back and it's not there. And then you're like, oh, crap, it's on the truck in my bag. And then you walk over there and your bag is like buried behind, 200 bags already. And it's like, there's no retrieving it.
That's kind of why I really like when Melanie was saying that they bike packed across Ragbri. She's like, there was no forgetting anything. That was really cool. I mean, that was one of the part of her stories that I enjoyed as well. It was like, you know what? If you bike pack, you got everything with you. There is no leaving your computer. There is no, leaving something in your bag. You got everything with you. Then again, it was the hilliest Ragbri, and Melanie decided to bike pack. So maybe there was.
But you know what you could do? We could just, hook the Milwaukee packouts onto the back, one with the rollers on the bottom, and you could just, you'd have a trailer. I'm not suggesting we do that, but.
At the hilliest Ragbri ever. So,
yeah.
Speaking Kudos of Ragbri, before we get into our paranormal stories, did you see the logo reveal hint?
I did not.
It is going to be announced on the 25th of October. By the time this show... by the time this show comes out, the official logo will be out. But they are giving you somewhat of a hint, and it looks like to be...
The hint is better than last year's.
Oh, God, for sure. I was not a fan of last year's logo.
Sorry, Ragbri. Didn't really groove on the logo.
That didn't do it for me either.
No.
But this one looks to be like on a B-52, and it happens to be Ragbri 52. But it looks like it's like on a B-52 bomber. So,
And my question then is, does this give you some idea of where it might be going?
I tried to look. I want to be honest. I tried to look like the B-52, and the only thing I could see is there was a story that the B-52 bomber flew over central Iowa, but I couldn't see like if it was made there or whatever. So
I think what I would have been looking for is Air Force bases.
Okay, that's a good point. So I know this is a podcast.
You've got, Omaha right there. That's in the Nebraska side, but
Hey, Michael, I need a coffee.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message.
Oh, that's cool.
So that is it says, drum roll, please. This is your very first Ragbri hint. So see if I hold my phone straight.
It's like the, it looks like a piece of the shell of a bomber.
That's correct. That's what it looks like. That's the first Ragbri hint. And they're doing a fundraiser for the actual logo reveal on the 25th. So,
what do you mean a fundraiser?
They're doing like a whole event to release the.
I see.
Join us for the logo reveal and open house on 10/25 at the Ragbri headquarters. So you can go on down to Des Moines, Iowa, and on the 25th. And so far, there are 26 people going. Join us for happy hour at Ragbri. Maybe it's not a fundraiser. Join us for a happy hour at Ragbri headquarters ahead of our in-person Ragbri 52 logo reveal. The shop will be open, and the new Ragbri merchandise will be available to purchase along with some classic fall items. That's from 6:30 Central Time. Hey, you like Central Time.
Central Time is awesome.
6:30 Central Time is when they're revealing the new logo for Ragbri 52. And since we are a cycling-centric podcast, that's why I brought it up. So, anyways, all right, we've got a couple things left for this show. We've got your paranormal activity, or our paranormal activity, and then we've got listener spotlight.
Okay. Well, I was just doing some quick checking here because with that side panel, I was thinking, because it looked like, showed the rivets and stuff, like maybe they were talking about, they would give you some hint of not only the logo, but maybe someplace where they were going. But I just checked, and the Strato Fortress, which was the B-52, was not manufactured anywhere in Iowa. So no hints there. Wichita, Kansas, though. Seattle.
I saw that this morning. I thought about the Kansas, but.
Okay. Anyway, paranormal stories. Do you have any? Have you ever been haunted? Do you see dead people? Does stuff move around your house that's not, being moved by your wife? Do you hear like strange sounds at night of like people screaming in your basement? I mean, other than like when I'm there, but
Yeah, I have a hearing issue, so when you scream in the basement, I just ignore it. But
You just ignore it anyway. He's just screaming. Don't worry, he'll be fine.
I only have one, and when you know, I mean, obviously we do homework for the show, and we're pretty creative guys, but not that creative to come up with all this stuff. And, when we talked about it for the Halloween show,
Mhm.
I was thinking to myself, you know, did I have a paranormal story? And mine's not very good. I'm going to share it, but mine's not very good. My wife and I were on the deck. And to give people an idea, I have a double layer deck. We were on the upper level of the deck, and we were on a swing, and we were looking out just at the back of my property. I live in the city, so it's not that much property, but and it was getting nighttime. And the only thing I can tell you of my entire 40-something years on this planet, there was a device flying, and it was like a triangle shape. Like it would be what is now considered a UFO. Now that the 60 Minutes and all of them have come out and said, you know, unidentified flying object. It was definitely not in a regular light pattern, and the way it was moving was really kind of creepy. And it's probably the only thing. I've always been a guy who's skeptical when people are like, "Oh, I saw a UFO." I'm like, "Oh yeah, right, you saw a UFO." I've always been a guy who's been skeptical of like, "Oh yeah, we were there, and I heard, you know, whispers, and there was noises." And I it's not that I'm a non-believer. I've just never had any. I'm a see it, believe it kind of guy, and that would be the only thing in my entire life that was definitely unexplainable. It was definitely for me. It was like the first thing that I was ever like, "Wow, that's really strange. The way that thing is flying and the way the thing is moving across the sky." And it seemed, and my father was in aviation, so I
Sure.
think, you know, my history of flying objects and how fast things can move and everything. And so this thing was moving really quick. And so, and as where it was off in the distance made me go, wow. And so that's honestly, I know it's not very good for the show. And I wish I could be like, oh yeah, man, I heard these, you know, creepy voices. I will get you, you know, or something like that. But, you know, I wanted to have something better for the,
Well, that's okay. I mean, you know, it's unexplained. It doesn't have to be, you know, paranormal. It can be unexplained.
He did not see anything. He's not telling the truth.
just kidding. So
Yeah, Men in Black are going to come and shut down our show now. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Give us your credit card.
no, just kidding. No, but I wish I had a better paranormal story, but that's it, man. I'm a book. I can be read because I'm just an honest guy. That'd be my only thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got to say, I have had a very spooky experience, couple very spooky experiences. I am not going to sit here and say that they were ghosts, they were specters, they were anything. I'm just saying it was kind of weird and I can't explain it. In high school, a good friend of mine named Mark lived in this older house, and we'd go over there and spend a lot of time at his house. And his parents were big in the community, so they were always out doing community things. We spent a lot of time in his basement. Well, and he used to tell me stories, and I used to like, okay, yeah, whatever. You're just like, whatever. But he said, one Halloween, he said, me and another friend of ours, he said, let's come over to my house and we'll spend the night. It's like, okay, fine. We'd spent the night there before. In his basement, it was weird anyway. I mean, they were very, you know, kind of high-end decor type things. And at the time they had wallpaper that was white that had black ladies' faces on it. You know, I mean, like the faces of the ladies were outlined in black. So it was kind of like, you know, I mean, it very high end, but was kind of like weird to begin with. So you had the main room, and then around the corner, you had like a bar area. We're just hanging out there, watching some movies, probably some ninja movies or something like that. And we're like, oh, let's get a soda. So we got up, went around the corner to get a soda. And we're sitting there, we're talking, he set the soda up there. We're chatting some more about pointless stuff that you chat about. And he says, look at that. And the Coke can is sitting on the bar and it is just rotating very slowly, very evenly, not jerky, just very slowly rotating in a circle, very smoothly. And I was like, okay, what's doing that? And all of us stepped away from the bar. So there wasn't anybody manipulating anything. And it's like, there's got to be an explanation. So we unplugged the refrigerator thinking that the vibrations of the mini fridge was causing it. Nothing. It was still doing that. So finally it was like, I bet there's water or something under it. So finally we just picked up the can. There was no moisture under it at all. The can was just sitting there. And probably for 45, 50 seconds before we picked it up was just slowly turning in a complete rotation around, which was really creepy.
That's interesting.
We went there another time and we're down in his basement, again, probably watching, ninja movies or whatever the movie was back in those days. And we heard his back door open. Somebody came in. I mean, we'd been there, dozens of times before. We hear people, the back door came from their driveway and their garage. So, his parents weren't home. So we just assumed. So he went over there and he just yelled. He goes, hey, the guys are over. We're just watching movies. And there was no response. And so he got back up again and goes, hey, because then a couple seconds later, we heard somebody walking further down the hall upstairs. And it was like, okay, that's weird. So then he's like, what's going on? So we all hopped up and him and I ran upstairs. And there's like nobody up there. We clearly heard the door open, close, and somebody walking around. And we went through the entire house, literally under beds, closets, everything. First floor, upstairs, everywhere, and did not find a single, nobody was in the house. His parents got back like 2 hours later from their thing. They hadn't been home. So there was just weird things like that. It's like, I'm not going to say there was like hauntings or ghosts or anything, but it was just really weird. I could never explain it.
And that was a house in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep. So he used to tell us stories about it, and we used to be like, whatever. But there was a couple other things that happened, but just enough weird things happened that you couldn't explain, and you couldn't really debunk yourself. That it was like, yeah, a little weird. So I've had a couple of those bizarre experiences where. Don't know what's going on. Maybe nothing. Maybe it's just all in our imaginations. Who knows?
I mean, there's been people out there who, obviously truly believe and have seen and heard things. And
yeah. I'm not going to say doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they're not there. I'm not going to say there's not some dimensional beings or spirits stuck here or what. I'm not going to say there's not because I can't prove it. I'm a very based in science type guy. Show me evidence. You want me to believe in Bigfoot? Show me some evidence showing me that, there's a Bigfoot or something. Other than just a grainy picture of somebody like trying to run and, that kind of thing. Show me some evidence. So, but I'm not the type of person to discredit it right away because there is so much we do not know about the world we live in. So,
and I think that's definitely well said. I mean, my wife highly enjoys watching, deep dives of paranormal activity and different shows. And I think for me, it's always like some of the times when I go in the room and she likes to watch the stuff on YouTube. And some of it to me is so obvious that it's fake that then I go, what are you watching this trash for?
Yeah.
But then some of it, it's interesting. I won't say that it's not interesting, but I think when they use those, this just shows you I'm not educated in this, but they use like those like computer devices to be like, oh yeah. And why were you so in this room and so sad?
Oh, EVPs.
EVPs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, you don't believe that trash, do you? So I'm a non-believer when it comes to like that stuff.
Or it says something, it's like, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, it said it's going to kill me. Or, they say, they start telling you what they want it or they hear it saying. And then you in your mind are going, oh, it does kind of sound that way. It's one of those things that it's like, if you just listen to it, it could be saying nothing, who knows? But,
yeah. So, but you know what? That's what she enjoys. So whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, when you had mentioned this, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of share. But that's it for me. I mean, my father-in-law tells a story of a true. I mean, and when I'm telling you, he's telling me the story. He is either he's told the story enough where he believes it, but he talks about a UFO, and him and his buddies were camping, and he said it scared him to this day. He's still something they saw when they were camping, something just so unexplainable. So, but Halloween's always a fun holiday.
I love Halloween.
It's just one of those things where, spooky and the idea, and even the more cartoonist Halloween, and even Disney. This is Halloween. All that stuff. It's always a good holiday. So,
oh yeah,
and then Thanksgiving's kind of like meh, and then Christmas.
A lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food.
A lot of food, football.
What about Maya? Ever get scared of anything around Halloween? Or I know she's getting a little bit older now, but
well, she gets scared of a few things here and there, but overall, she's. She'll watch like scary movies, and it's okay.
Right.
She used to have the usual thing, scared of the dark, and
sure.
Oh, Dad, go down in the basement with me and things like that. But she's outgrown that at this point. So.
When I was growing up, just shows you my era, it was always Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger movies. And so
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
Oh man, when the next Friday the 13th would come out, we would watch it. And I just remember like jump scare and all that stuff. Like, so I'll tell you that those are not my most favorite movie. Even to this day, I'm like,
I don't get into horror movies really.
I don't want to sit in the chair and then wake up with like my neck hurting the next day because I'm like, oh. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, I've enjoyed our Halloween episode. We definitely need to close it out here with Listener Spotlight.
That is right. Got a good one for you. Here we go. In the mid-1850s, white settlers moved into this area due to the mineral springs. It is a area or a town, city that is known for its large amount of recreational opportunities. Lots of recreational things to do. In the late 50s, if you were serious about science and physics, the town's high school would have been the place you would have wanted to go to school. And here you go. If you don't drive carefully going into this town, you might end up slamming into the side of a feed store.
Wow.
And there you go. And I will say,
yes,
in my opinion, I gave a huge clue. Huge. You only need to know one of these. You only need to know one of these to be able to nail it.
Huh. Well, so far I would. Meh.
Minerals, recreational opportunity, Mineral Springs, recreational opportunities, 1950s high school science and physics. Slamming into the side of a feed store if you don't drive carefully. So
I don't want a pickle. I just want to ride on my motorcycle. I don't want to die. I just want to ride.
And I will tell you right now, it's not St. Louis.
I figured that.
But Mark, get to guessing.
Matt.
It was
Matt.
Okay, I'm sorry. Matt.
Come on.
Oh, I'm terrible with names.
You know what?
You know
Matt,
that.
True story. We'll be somewhere and he'll be like he'll know the person. He's like, hey, that's Mandy, right? Like, yes, that's Mandy. Or, hey, that's Janine. Like, I don't even know who Janine is. No, it's not Janine. That's Jim.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. I am terrible with names. And it's like, I know this person. I've talked to this person before. I don't remember names worth diddly. So.
And I always tease him because we both were in wedding photography. And I always said, well, didn't you do like the rule of three, like 3 times? Hi, Adam. I'm Adam. Hey, Adam, what do you do? Hey, Adam. He's like, yeah, I did back then, but not now. So,
yeah, I'm not working now. I'm just riding. So,
but you got a lot of cameras there behind you. So
I do. Yes.
Before we end it out, I would love to throw out a couple things.
Okay.
Who's doing big rides next year? Where are you going? We'll just make the statement. We're not going to Ragbri, even though we support their new logo and wish them the best. We are going to Big Brag, but where should we go? Yep. Where are you guys going? Where could we maybe join you? Where could you join us? Where could we meet up?
Give us some ideas. We would, and even if they're like maybe not a full week ride, maybe a 3-day ride, let us know. I mean, we're looking for ideas because we are doing Georgia again. We've done that several times. We're going to do it again. We're not always going to do Georgia, but we're not doing Ragbri, and we're looking for some other options. So if you guys know some good rides, send us the information.
I really appreciate that. We've made a few mentions about donations. Just want to be clear. What is the goal for us? What are we trying to do? What would that be helpful? So donations help us keep this thing going. We use the funds for this platform to be able to put our podcast out. And so there's a couple different ways you can do that. You can do it through our landing page of our Cycling Men of Leisure podcast.com. You can see there's a support link there. You can also go to our website, Cycling Men of Leisure, and then .com, excuse me. And then what you could do is you'll see donations, and you can become a monthly donation, $3 a month, $5 a month, or whatever. If you want to help us out, we appreciate all of you. Just want to explain what the donations are going for. So
because here's the deal. We're like NPR without the N, the P, or the R. We're not making money off this. I mean, we're not like sitting there going, basically, we do have some people who do sponsor us a little bit, or people who do contribute to the cause. And all that is doing is that's going to pay for the platforms that we use and those type of things. We have a website. Takes a little money to maintain the website. It takes some money for every month for this platform, things like that. So it's not like we're, eating steak next week because, we're making tons of money, because we're not really making any money. And that's okay, because that's not our goal here.
No,
our goal has never been to make money. So.
No, but we do appreciate those who have made some donations, and we just
absolutely
we felt just like NPR, when NPR says something, they get a donation, they have a bank of phones behind them. We felt that we needed to tell you what the donations were going for.
Absolutely.
And so helps keep the cause going and doing what we're doing. So last but not least, I'd like to just thank everybody that took their time to do fan talk and write us, and means the world. Men, women, children, all of you out there. We love gathering all the information, and we kind of smile, and you make us feel like $1 million when you do. So we wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for taking your time to write us. We know with everything going on, and I mean, every time I turn around, my phone's going off or something. And so thank you. So,
and just to let my mom know, you don't have to send your emails to us. You can just talk to me in person when I see you. Okay. You don't have to keep sending emails and things about the show.
But when she goes through fan mail and she's like, Michael, I need your help.
I'm joking. So yeah,
no, your mom is a huge fan, and she probably is one of our first Central Time listeners. So
yes.
So thank you all to everybody, and we appreciate you. And if there's something you want us to talk about, as usual, give us a jingle. If you have been encounters with car stories, we'd love to hear it.
Send it in.
And I'm not sure about Kansas, but I guarantee you it was 78 degrees here in Michigan today, and it was a great day for a bike ride.
Absolutely.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.